This is IXL Practice Skill K7. Students will solve and graph solutions to linear inequalities. Whenever we are graphing inequalities, we need to remember two things. The first thing is about our endpoints. These endpoints are either going to have a closed dot, which is signified by the line underneath the inequality symbol. So this line means it's equal to, so it is a closed dot, like this. Closed meaning filled in. Or it's going to be an open dot where there is just the symbol, there's no equal sign underneath, and that will just be represented with an open dot. The second thing we need to remember is that the alligator eats the bigger value. So whichever way the inequality symbol is pointing, that value should be bigger. So for instance, this value right here, the alligator is eating the x. So x is bigger than 2. Bigger than 2. Similarly for this next one, the alligator is eating the 2. So the 2 is bigger than x. But 2 is also could be equal to x because we have this line underneath. So the opposite way to say this is x is less because it's pointed. X is less than 2. So this would be x is less or equal to 2. And for this one, x is greater because it's being eaten, so x is bigger than 2. So this is another way, even though this does not look the same as this one, these two mean the same thing. X is bigger than 2. And this all comes back to the fact that the alligator is pointing toward the x, so it is going to eat the x because it's bigger. Okay, now that we have reviewed those two concepts, we're going to solve these inequalities and then we're going to graph them. So our first problem, we have w minus 3 is greater than 3. So I need to do the opposite of subtract 3, which is add 3 to both sides. So adding 3 to both sides, the 3's cancel out and I get w is greater than 3 plus 3, which is 6. So this is our solution, and we need to graph it. So the first thing that I do is I look at my number, and I need to put the dot where the number is. So my dot goes at 6, and it is an open dot because there is no line underneath my arrow. So it's an open dot, and the line goes where w is bigger. So w is going to be bigger, so it's going to be going to the right. So our arrow points to the right. Number 2, the opposite of divide by 2 when I solve the inequality for r. The opposite of divide by 2 is multiply by 2. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. The 2's cancel out, and I get r is less than or equal to 4 times 2 is 8. So 8. I put my dot at 8. And I need to fill in this dot because there is a line underneath. So I'm going to fill in the dot. And here I have r is less than 8. 8 is going to be bigger because it's being eaten. So less points to the left, and that is my answer. Number 3, I have negative 2u is less than or equal to 4. I need to divide both sides by negative 2. And then I have u. Since I divided by this negative, we have to flip the sign. So greater or equal to 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. This is my final answer because used by itself. I'm going to start by putting my dot at negative 2. I'm going to fill in this dot because we have a line underneath. And our u value, our variable, is bigger than my negative 2. So bigger goes to the right. And that is how you solve and graph one-step linear inequalities.